welcome back to another video. So today's video I'm going to be telling you all the 24 books I loved in 2024. Believe it or not, there was like the perfect 24 books. I didn't find it hard to figure it out or anything. It was 24 books that I felt like was perfect for this video, which is surprising because I remember last year I really had to like struggle for the 23. This year I put them out and that's what I loved. Let's just get on into it because there's quite a few books here. Obviously there's 24. So first we have The Season of Secrets. Now this I read right at the beginning of the year because that came out, if I remember correctly. This is actually the perfect Christmassy read, believe it or not. Well, I mean, it kind of gives that vibe. Yeah, I read it at the beginning of the year and it's not surprising. It's QB Tyler for starters, and to be honest, QB Tyler is like one of my favorite authors. Honestly, QB Tyler cannot do anything wrong writing style wise. Like every single book is always a 5-star, if not like really high. Like I absolutely love, obsess over the characters, can't stop thinking about it type book, and honestly that's what I love. So whenever QB Tyler comes out with a new book, I just know for a fact that I'm going to love it, and that was the case with this book. I was looking forward to it. It came out, I read it quite quickly, and I love it so much. I do feel like I don't talk about this one enough, and that is just because I don't really I haven't had an opportunity to talk about it, but I'm hoping that sometime maybe in the new year I'll be able to talk about it in videos more, because I do have a video planned for the new year that I would like to talk about this book in. I'm going off on a little tangent, but yeah, this is a age gap romance, also a, was it parent's best friend, if I remember correctly. It has been a while since I have read this, so I don't really remember like details about it, but all I know is like I am obsessed with this book. I might be getting a few details wrong, but it's about a female main character, and she was like a secret relationship with her parents' best friend, but then he ends up having to move away to somewhere because he's like this nurse, or he does some type of like doctor thing, so he has to move away. And then I think it's like 2 or 3 years later he gets an invitation to her wedding, and obviously he's not happy about it, and so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go back, she's mine type thing. So he ends up going back, and I think we can all see what happens there. And yeah, I just loved the aspect of that book, the fact that like he comes back as soon as he realizes that he's basically losing her forever to someone else. Now that is a book for me. If you like that, then I highly recommend this one. Next is a whole series. I do have 2 whole series in this. I don't count it as separate books because I love them obviously separately. So that is the Sugarland Creek series. So we have Come With Me, Here With Me, All With Me, Stay With Me, and Only With Me. So we have all those books. I'm going to try and talk about them individually. So Come With Me is a novella, and with this series it doesn't really matter what order you read it in. It is better if you read it in order, I've noticed personally, just because it does follow some timeline in a sense, but like it's not anything that if you was to read them separately you're gonna miss, or it's gonna mess up with the story, because these are individual. So this whole series is about, it's about like 5 brothers, there's 1 girl, and you get all of their romances. So Come With Me is actually we have Come With Me, like I said, little novella. I would definitely say it's like my least favorite out of the series, but still really enjoyed. I just feel like I could have had like more, you know, a lot happened in this book, but I feel like, you know, it would have been nice to have like a longer book out of it like the rest of the series. So then we have Here With Me, which is their second book. Then this is where they're full-length books. They are like really short, quick reads, very easy to fly through. So if you're looking to get books off your reading goal, then this is the perfect series. Also, yes, I didn't mention, but small town cowboy romances. Or so then Here With Me is about Noah, and she ends up accidentally having a one-night stand with her ex-boyfriend's dad. So obviously this is an age gap. Definitely really enjoyed this one. And then the third book is, I want to say, Stay With Me or Fall With, I can't remember the order. I think it's Stay With Me and then Fall With Me. One of them is a surprise pregnancy. I can't remember one of the books though. One best friend's brother out of them. And then we have Only With Me, which is sister's ex-boyfriend trope. I suppose a little bit of an age gap if I remember correctly, but yeah, all good tropes within this series. Pretty much love all the tropes that was used within this series, which is one of the reasons why I loved it as well. And then obviously it's small town cowboy. Can you get any better within a series? No. I'm gonna always say this when I talk about this series. If you love the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver, then you will love this series, because it does give off like the same vibes and just everything about it I just absolutely love. Then following on from that, we have Caught Up and Play Along by Liz Tomford. Obviously my favourite in the series is like the second book, but I didn't read that this year. So we have Caught Up, about a single dad, and he is looking for a nanny because he plays, I want to say basketball. He plays basketball, so he needs someone to look after his son while he's doing that and just to help her out. Then obviously he finds the nanny, which is going to be the love interest. See, that's my second favourite in the series. Then we have Play Along, and again I really love this book. Okay, so I actually have this book right next to me. But yeah, then we have Play Along, and this is about Kennedy and Isaiah, and Kennedy works for Isaiah's team or something like that. She works with some sort of team, and Isaiah has a crush on her. But either way, long story short, they have to have a fake engagement, no, fake marriage, to help each other out in some way. And I really enjoyed this book. I found it very interesting the whole way through. Arranged marriage, I would like to say, isn't normally my thing, but I do read a lot of it, so like it's not something I hate. But most of the time, I'm just gonna say this is probably my favorite like arranged marriage book I have read, as this one just gripped me pretty much from the beginning. And Isaiah is like the best towards Kennedy. And again, obviously basketball as well, because Isaiah is our main male character's brother from Quarter. Okay, I also have this book next to me as well. So then we have Adeline. This is a 5-star read for me. I did enjoy Haunting Adeline, but this is the one I wanted to put into this video because this is the one that I rated 5 stars and loved the best, and I feel like you got a lot more detail within it. Obviously check the trigger warnings if you're going to pick up the series or think about pick up this series, or duology should I say. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I read it quite quickly considering it's quite a thick book, and again a lot more happens within this book, so I felt like it was more fast paced and more interesting. Like it kept my attention. Not that I'm hating on Haunting Adeline, because I do believe I rated that 4.5 or 4.75, but this one was the better of it. Obviously I can't really say too much about this book as it is the second in the series, and if you haven't read it, I obviously don't want to be the one to spoil it for you, but just know that this is like my favorite, and I did rate it 5 stars. Then we have Sir Yes Sir by L.L. Shan. I do actually have a physical copy of it, but it's like right behind the Christmas tree, so unfortunately I can't get it. But I love this book so much. Now if you don't know this already, if you haven't been with me from the beginning, or if you have, you would know that Him by L.L. Ash is my favorite book ever. Like it's one of my favorite books. I talk about it a lot. I talk about it any chance I get. This is the 3rd book within that series, and I read this so quickly. I think I read it in one sitting if I remember correctly. The book was so good. If you haven't read it yet, please do. L.L. Ash should definitely be a bigger author. I feel like they aren't talked about as much as they should be, so I'm going to be that voice, and I'm going to say please pick up this book if you want, but the whole series in general. The series you can read separately. Like Him is a best friend's dad. The 2nd book, Teach Me, is a teacher student if I remember correctly, and then Sir Yes Sir is a dad's best friend. So again, all of my favorite tropes are literally within a series. Yeah, obviously the 3rd book is the only one I read this year. Well, I did reread Him, but like unfortunately I don't want to put rereads in here. So yeah, either way, Sir Yes Sir should be talked about more, and I really enjoyed it. Then we have Professor Asta. Now this book, I have pretty much all my thoughts in a reading vlog, but this one is a teacher student. I really enjoyed this one personally. I feel like it's probably like my favorite teacher student book, maybe. Again, I feel like this one isn't talked about enough. I have read more books from this author this year, and they are good, but this one, like, so far my favorite, and I feel like it's written amazingly. The storyline, everything, so good. Oh, okay, so I just did some more reading. I completely forgot about this. Yes, it's a teacher student, but like that's not the only thing it's based off, which I think is what I loved about this. I mean, obviously it's the main thing, but it's also where she is his nanny, also cousin's best friend. So there's like a few different tropes in this, and it's kind of like she's off limits. And obviously, like I keep saying throughout all this, so you've probably seen a pattern. I love that, and I did also read this one very quickly as well. Then we have Starting Line by McKay Marie, and this one was a pleasant surprise for me. So this is a swimmer gymnastic romance, and I really love this. So this is like a enemies to lovers, and they're both competing. I'm definitely not going to do this justice. I'm just going to warn you. Please read this though. But yeah, they're like the enemies, they're competing for something, and then they have to do like this interview thing like together, and so it's kind of like forced proximity in a sense. But yeah, they're doing sports. Now it was a pleasant surprise for me because I've never read like a swimmer romance before, and so it was a pleasant surprise because I realized that I enjoyed it. It was like really good. I love this book so much. I do feel like I want to read the synopsis for this one though, because it's so good, and I do feel like I just didn't do it justice. Okay, so it says, TJ, America's golden girl, the one they love to love. Gold is a heavy weight, but I've learned to carry it with grace. So what they expect is to prepare for another Olympic Games, smile, entertain, and most importantly, win. I've sacrificed everything for gymnastics, and the sport has taken its toll. I'm not sure how much I have left in me, but I also don't know who I am without it. So what do I do? My finish line is rapidly approaching. approaching and the stress of training reaches a boiling point. I allow the one person I thought I hated to help me find myself. For the first time, I'm getting validation from the sacrifices I made for gold, from the only other person who can truly understand them, the last person I would have expected it from. I've always prided myself on having unbreakable focus in and out of the gym. This is until Caleb Callahan begins to crack it little by little. In Caleb's point of view, American's bad boy, the one everyone loves to hate. I am a winner. It's what I do and who I am, and they hate me for it. They love the gold I bring home for them, but disgrace me when I celebrate it. I don't let it get to me though. Not when my goal for my third Olympics is bigger than gold and anything they have to say. Bigger than my love for swimming itself. I'm fulfilling my late father's wish to suppress his world record, and nothing will stop me. He hates me upon first sight, but I can work with that. Even the golden girl can't resist the charm of a born and bred winner, and when the stress reaches a boiling point between our training and filming, a simple arrangement to blow off some steam sounds like a good idea. The only thing is, not doing feelings is easier said than done. And then these are the tropes: standalone sports romance, bad boy, good girl, friends with benefits, and Olympic swimmer, Olympic gymnast. So yeah, it's not really an enemies to lovers, like I said, but obviously they start off not really as enemies, but like she doesn't like him because in the spotlight he doesn't really have like a good reputation. He doesn't seem like the nicest person until obviously she gets to know him. There we go. Now I feel like I've done it justice as much as I can, because like I said, I am rapid firing this as much as I can, and I feel like my brain's all over the place. Okay, then we have Our Little Secret, also by QB Tyler, and again another one I really enjoyed. I read this one, I want to say sometime in August, I think. So this one is about our main female character. She ends up having a one night stand, and when she wakes up in the morning he is gone, and obviously she's heartbroken and feels betrayed by this, but then she gets this new job. She's very excited about it. She goes to her new job, and the one she had the one night stand with is her boss, married boss. So yeah, definitely a interesting one, and again another one I would recommend. Then we have Welcome to the Dark Side by Gianna Darling. So I actually had to sit on my thoughts with this one a little bit, because there was parts of the story that just, don't know what it was, just didn't feel like right to me. And as someone who reads a lot of taboo romance, like it was an odd feeling for me, but I did sit on it and I was like, you know what, it's a book, I enjoyed it, it's not a big deal type thing. So I did end up discovering that I actually enjoyed this, you know, I enjoyed reading it. So this book is about a female main character when she's younger. It starts off when she's younger. I can't remember how old she was. There's this incident that happens. She gets saved by this man, I think he's like 20 something at this point, but then he ends up into jail, and while he's in jail they end up becoming pen pals for years, and then eventually he ends up getting out of prison, and then she's determined to, you know, get him to see her like who she is now type thing. I enjoyed this book, and I can't remember what I rated it anymore, to be fair, but I just know that I enjoyed it, and I even enjoyed the first book in the series, so I am excited to continue with the series, because I feel like it's just going to get, you know, better and better each time. I feel like this is going to be a series that I just enjoy as a whole. Okay, then we have Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I was really looking forward to reading this at the time, because I just knew that I would love it, and I mean, I was correct. So this is I'm just going to read the synopsis, because again I feel like I'm not doing justice for all of these, but some of them I don't have the information to, but since I have the book I'll read the back. My ex crushed my dreams in the music industry. I'm done with getting my heart broken. Working as an assistant for an NHL player was supposed to be a breeze, but nothing about James is easy. He's intimidating, hot, grumpy, and can't stand me. Keeping things professional will not be a problem, even when he demands I move in with him. When he finds out my ex was terrible in bed, his competitive nature flares, and he's encouraged to spoil me in every way. The creative spark I used to feel about music, it's back. I'm writing songs again. Between wearing his jersey at games, fun rowdy parties with the team, and being brave on stage again, I'm falling for him. He could break my heart, but maybe I'm willing to take that chance. So yeah, that was the synopsis to that. And then the next book is The Fake Out, which is the second book from this one, but it's also a favourite. You can read these as standalones, like you won't be missing anything. So this one says, the best way to get back at my horrible ex, fake date his rival. Being the team physiotherapist for a brunch on pro hockey players is challenging enough without my ex joining the team. Here's the reason I don't date hockey players. Vancouver Storm's new captain and the top scorer in pro hockey, Rory Miller, is the arrogant, flirtatious hockey player I tutored in high school, and he's just agreed to be my fake boyfriend. I get sweet revenge. Rory gets to clean up his image. It's the perfect deal. Faking with him is fun and addictive, though, and beneath the bad boy swagger, Rory's sweet, fun, and protective. He teaches me to skate. He sleeps in my bed. He kisses me like it's real. What if he was never faking it at all? I could definitely say of the both, this one's my favorite, but like I enjoyed them both, but I felt like this one, I don't know what it is, I just love the characters more. I love the story in this one. Obviously that's why it's in this video, but this one has my heart. Okay, I need to rapid fire this a little bit quicker. Then we have Gothicana. This is one I've also read recently, and it's also a new favourite of mine. I went into this blind. I'm not gonna lie, went into it not knowing what it was, except for that it's teacher student. That's what I knew. But I'm kind of glad that that is what I went in knowing, because there's like a mystery element to this. So it's about Corvina, and she ends up being sent to like this boarding school, and when she gets there she finds out that there's like loads of stories about like bad things happening within the school, and that there's this one teacher who just gives off vibes, like, you know, like he's done something bad type vibe. And then she's like roaming around, she's trying to learn about like the boarding school a bit more, and then she ends up seeing this teacher that everyone's talking about. And with this teacher, eventually she starts like keep catching his eye, like each other's eye. She is in one of his classes, and then she kind of starts to think like, what's so bad about him? And I'm just gonna leave it there. Like I said, definitely better to just go into it kind of knowing what I just said. I really enjoyed this. Wasn't expecting to love it as much as I thought, but I'm gonna say it did take me a little while to get into it, but please stick with it, because it gets so much better as you get, like, I'm gonna say probably about this far. I'll probably say like 60, 100 pages. It gets so much better. It does take a bit to warm up. Like, that is why it's so good. Then we have The Truth About Tomorrow and The Truth About Us. I had to put both of these on the list, and you're probably thinking, if you read this book about the same couple, well, that's the point. That is the point. So The Truth About Tomorrow, about a female main character, and she has been fostered by this couple, which you read about in the first book, which is The Truth About Heartbreak. She's been fostered and like trying to discover things about herself, because she's been through like a rough past, so she is having like a hard time, but she finds comfort in her foster mother's brother, and yeah, so they become close. Now this is an age gap, and some people have a problem with it, because like obviously technically it's like pseudo uncle, and does call him uncle sometimes in the book, which obviously can be weird, but you can look past that, because it's not just about this. You are learning about like her growth, and that's like the main part of the story, and what I actually liked about the story, because obviously she's kind of, she thinks as herself as broken at the beginning of the book, and then you see herself, you know, growing into the person that she is, like, I won't say today, but you know, the person she becomes, and you see that, and that is what I love about it. And then The Truth About Us is their life afterward, and actually being able to, you know, live their life and stuff after everything. Then we have My Darling Arrow, and again this is another sister's boyfriend, and I really enjoyed this one. So this is about obviously our female main character. She's liked her sister's boyfriend, like she's had a crush on him before her sister even got with him, but obviously like this is an age gap thing. Yeah, she's in school and she finds out that like him and her sister's like engaged, or like it's rumored to be, but they've like moved away, that they live by themselves, whatever. And then he ends up coming back, and she's like, you know, where's my sister, like what's happening type thing. He finds out that there's been some trouble. Her sister's also not the nicest person. I'm just going to put that out there. That's why it's also okay in my opinion. But yeah, then they end up like, you know, talking, becoming friends type thing and all that. I don't know how to explain this without spoiling it, but because it's quite like a basic plot. But yeah, I'm just going to stop there before I end up ruining something. Then we have Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This is a single dad nanny, and that's all I really have to say that I enjoyed it. Now, what I love about this is the fact that the nanny, male main character and his son like have like a rough relationship, because the son has some like medical stuff, and yeah, it's just, they clash quite a lot. She is there to like help with that, and that's what I love about it, is the fact that she brings them back together where they're not clashing anymore, and they can actually have a conversation, and they can like talk. Please note, I think the son's like 10. Then we have the fans. So this is stepbrothers. They don't like each other from the get-go, and like they stay away from each other just because they don't like each other. They're like, this is the best way, but they end up like in school throughout the years, don't really communicate, don't really say anything, and then their parents give them some bad news, and they have to figure some stuff out for themselves. And then the one male main character decides, you know what, I'm going to go and do. That's how it starts, and then obviously he needs someone to help him with that. And that's all I'm going to say, because again, don't want to spoil anything. Okay, then we have The Wrong Bride. Now this is the other Katharina Maria, that's how you pronounce it, sorry if I said it wrong, book that I like. So again, this is sister's fiance. So her sister was actually meant to marry him. It's like an arranged marriage, but then her sister was like, actually I want to focus on my career, I can't marry you. And then she ends up having to marry her sister's fiance. Again, gonna keep it simple. I actually really enjoyed this book. I loved like the the progression. Did I find some of the ending really irritating? Yes. Did I hate the sister with a passion? Also yes. And then finally we have Croaked by Penelope Douglas. Now I'm actually quite shocked that I'm putting this one onto my list for 24 books I loved in 2024, but now that I think about it more, I really enjoyed this one. This is about female main character. She dated main male character's younger brother, but then he ended up going to the military, if I remember correctly, and she has always like had like a thing for the older brother, but obviously didn't like really say much. Also, older brother, which is our main male character, is in like the Devil's Nightclub, so it's like an annual thing, I think. Every night, every Halloween night or every night before Halloween, I can't remember. I think it was every Halloween night. They like a group thing. But anyway, at some point she ends up putting the group into jail, and then years later she's obviously like living her life. They're out of jail and they want revenge. That is all the books for this video. Finally, I feel like this is going to be a very, very long video. I enjoy talking about these books, even though I don't feel like I did a good job, but I tried my best. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like more content like this. Leave this emoji if you watch until the end, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.